Welcome to another episode of Fave 5 from Fans, the podcast where we explore all things favorite. And yes, when I say all, I don't mean all, like we don't discuss politics or religion. I mean, maybe the politics of dancing, but that's completely different. I am your ever enthusiastic host, Jamie Ray, and today, zooming back into the Plastic Microphone Studios, though he has been on site, is the big friend of the show, Mr. Windsor Knot Photography himself, David May. Welcome back to the show, sir.
Thank you for having me, Jamie.
You're a very, very welcome. Don't I look good today?
You damn sure do.
I don't know what's different. Maybe I had, an expert in the field of photography and lighting come in and do the very best ever that he could do with this. But it looks good.
And we're not done yet.
Thank you, sir. You really set me up. And just as soon as I get my other lights behind me, you're going to see it really cool. It's going to be awesome.
I can't wait.
Yeah, me either. So today we have decided to do our Fave 5 Dean Koontz novels. Mm-hmm. Super excited. I'm a huge Dean Koontz fan. But I've got to ask you, why Dean Koontz?
So Dean Koontz was an author that was served up to me by a couple of different people over my life. The first one being my dad. My dad was a big Dean Koontz fan. My dad used to tell me that Dean Koontz was like Stephen King, if Stephen King liked action more than horror. And
knew how to end a book. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Also, yeah, but also to me, that is more or less. I love the way that those stories are told. I like that they're dynamic. I like that they lack repetition.
Yeah.
I like that there's always something interesting, and then I also like that there is always some common denominators throughout the novels. There's no overpowered hero. And so I always enjoyed that. There's something that feels very humble about his protagonists, which always made them feel a little bit more relatable. And even whenever things are grandiose, I loved that. But I had dad giving me Dean Koontz books. I had friends in school that were giving me Dean Koontz books, and it was just kind of like, all right, I guess this is my author. And then maybe 4 years ago, I started doing audiobooks because they were more attainable, especially if you were into torrents. I have this rule where I'm going to go through your library and I'm going to listen to all your books, and then I'm going to start buying them afterwards. That's my rule. I'm going to go through the library. Yeah, absolutely. But and that is how I support authors, and this is no different. And I never don't get the newest Dean Koontz book. So, and his storytelling's fantastic. And
it is.
It's funny is most of the time I go for spy novels. That's my thing. I love spy thrillers. I love that kind of stuff. Dean Koontz is my sort of vacation from my normal books.
Yeah. But he has a lot of thrillers. There is the horror element to a lot of it, but it's really good storytelling. And again, he knows how to seal the deal. He is me. There's going to be some books that we talk about here that have had a lasting impression. Probably, though he's not nearly as prolific as Stephen King, which is not a bad thing. But a lot of his books have had a big impact on me, and I'm super excited. I've had this list made for a while, so I was very happy when you chose for us to do it. Finally, get to talk about it. So
good.
Excited. So, as I always do, I gave you the opportunity to have 2 honorable mentions along with your Fave 5. Do you have some honorable mentions?
I do, in fact.
And you have 2 of them.
2 dose.
So good. So good. Well, if you've never seen the show before, honorable mentions are used if you couldn't quite figure out which one you wanted to leave off of your Fave 5, so you can kind of squeak it in past the line. Or for some reason, it's just really memorable for maybe not the best reasons, and you wanted to discuss it. So I think if you're ready, I'm ready. Why don't you go ahead and give us your honorable mentions?
All right. So my first honorable mention is going to be Odd Thomas.
Wait. That's your honorable mention.
One of them, yeah.
Odd Thomas is the first book is your God. Hey, Jamie, don't dog him. Don't dog him. Please tell me why Odd Thomas is an honorable mention.
We've been in this. We've been here before. What is this? What are you surprised about? Like, we've literally been here doing this. And you're like, that's your honorable mention?
I know. This shit hurts. It hurts so much. Because I know you have good taste. I know it. You know, I've seen it. But
I have good adjacent taste.
We all stumble. And I'll be there to pick you up.
So, that's I have faith that you will, friend. All right, so
right ahead.
Odd Thomas is one of those books that's it's kind of like, in my opinion, Dean Koontz's Godfather. Opus. It's the thing. Yeah, like everyone, it was one of those books that was built up to me. Yeah, exactly. And when someone tells me something is the best of all of the things, it has to deliver as the best of all the things. And first of all, it's not the genre of book that I love.
Okay. That's the first smart. I mean, you're correct. Please go ahead. I'm really trying here, man.
Anyway, so its first thing is it's not my genre, which kind of like The Thing, everyone thought that was going to be just my movie, and it's not. I acknowledge that it's got all the parts that make for something that I would love, but the overarching plot was a direction in a genre I'm just not that big of a fan of. And I mean, it's very much like maybe a 1 in 10 that I even like the book at all. And so I did enjoy Odd Thomas for sure. But also, I didn't read Odd Thomas until long after I had seen the movie that...
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons that... Yeah.
But again, I give it props for being so good. I give it props for being as prolific. It gets my respect. It's just not on my top 5. Ooh, Fave 5.
That one's free. That one's free.
All right. Next one, I'll let you flog me.
I think I'm not even going to respond to that. Okay. Do you have anything else to say about Odd Thomas as an honorable mention?
No, I think I'm going to let you take it away later.
Okay. What else is on your list of honorable mentions?
So my second on my list of honorable mentions is actually The Book of Counted Sorrows.
Okay, that's a good one.
So Book of Counted Sorrows is the fictional collection of poems that Dean Koontz has been writing, both as himself and by his other pen name, Lee Nichols. So, and I believe it was in 2003, they actually had a hardback publishing limited of the Book of Counted Sorrows.
Oh, okay.
And I wanted one so bad, but at the time I was in high school and I was not getting that book. And now you can't find it for, a reasonable amount of money. But I always loved that he would have these little short poems in all of his books. And most of my favorite books have, 1 or 2 or 3 of them. And one of the things I loved about his entry of these poems is that they all subtly sort of apply to the thing that is being talked about in the book. And then they also stand alone, because they're not just poems for poem's sake. They're actually really good. They don't drive the plot. They're genuinely good as poems. And so I thought, these are great. So standing alone, they're wonderful. And some of them are very, I don't even know how to say it. They're very profound. Yeah. Especially as a young person reading some of these books, I'm hesitant to give any specific examples, but I just remember thinking these are very clear, very succinct, and giving the message of it, which I thought was wonderful.
Okay. Now, I'll be honest. Aside from the things that show up in books, I'm not really a big follower of his poems, his poetry. I know a few limericks, but again, we're a family show, so I'm not going to share those. But that is a great choice. I like that.
Thank you.
All right. So I have two honorable mentions. The first is Phantoms from 1983.
Okay.
Now, this may be one of his most well-known books. This was released in 1983, and it follows two sisters, Jennifer and Lisa, who arrive in a small mountain town of Snowfield, California, only to find it completely deserted with mysterious signs of violence and death everywhere. So the sisters team up with the local sheriff and his deputies to investigate the over 400 people that have gone missing. And they discover an ancient shape-shifting entity that has been dormant beneath the Earth's surface for over a millennia. It can absorb and mimic anything it consumes, including human knowledge, memories, and probably tacos. It's been responsible for disappearances throughout history, and they must find a way to combat it. So this was also later adapted into the 1998 film of the same name with Peter O'Toole, Rose McGowan, and Ben Affleck.
I thought so.
Mm-hmm. That's it. And it's a pretty good movie. I don't know that it's a great adaptation. It's by far not my favorite adaptation, but it's a good honorable mention. So I would definitely tell you to pick it up. Okay. Now, this is going to surprise you, but my other honorable mention is In Odd We Trust from 2008, which is the graphic novel prequel to Odd Thomas. Now, from that look, you may not know, but there's actually 3 graphic novels set in the Odd universe. This one is about the ghost of a young boy appears to Odd, and it sets him off on a quest to find out who killed the boy, so the ghost can move on. Which, if you know anything about Odd Thomas, that's his whole gig. Right. He goes to Chief Wyatt Porter, who kind of knows about what Odd can do, and he informs him that the boy's babysitter was the last person to see or discovered him, I should say. And the baby turns out to be a young woman named Sherry, a childhood friend of Odd's love, his soulmate, Stormy, which I just thought Stormy Llewellyn, the way it just rolls off the tongue, it's really amazing. So she shares that she has a stalker by the seashore. No, Sherry shares. Sorry. We're talking limericks again. Sherry relates that the stalker has been leaving her notes over the last several months and believes that maybe this stalker is the murderer. And so Odd and Stormy get together and decide they're going to catch the killer. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the manga style of art, which this is done in that style. But Dean also co-writes this with someone by the first name of Queenie, and I'm not sure. I'll have to put it up here so that you can see it. Put it up here so you can see it. But it's a really great primer. And if you're not into reading whole novels, they're great little stories to get you started. So that's why I kind of chose it as an honorable mention. It would be something good for maybe if they didn't really want to get into reading, but they liked comics. This would probably be a great place to kick off. So I'm assuming you've never heard of this. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. You'll have to check it out. Of course, you don't like Odd Thomas, so maybe not. All right.
Shame.
Now that those are out of the way, I'm ready to hear your number 5.
All right. My number 5 is The Face.
Oh, that's a good one.
So The Face is about a former detective turned personal security advisor to an actor who, in my opinion, is basically just Dean Koontz's version of Tom Cruise.
Okay, I was going the same place.
He has a peculiar son who's very different than his father. And with both backup from the great beyond and some friends in the real world, he manages to save the face, the son, and solves what I can only describe as gross little riddles.
Sorry.
Good.
Yeah, I'm good.
You're good.
Kerchoo!
Good timing on the mute button.
Thank you. I tried.
But yeah, no, it's a fantastic book. My descriptions are never going to be as good and succinct as yours, but I try. Um, I thought it was a great book. I thought that the way that he blended the supernatural or the spiritual realm without being too over the top about its representation was really good and clean, in the sense that like he didn't muddy the waters of the story by going, oh, and also spirits, right? Like,
Yeah.
I love that he didn't do that. He didn't make the book about that. He just had that as part of the story, which is really nice.
Yeah.
I also thought that the riddles were really cool, because that was a thing that I hadn't experienced before in any of his books. Like, well, obviously his stories have their own riddles, but like he literally had really
Actual
good
riddles, yeah.
riddles. Yeah, I'm like, man, this is not something I was prepared for in this book. I liked the sun. I thought the sun was great. I loved how they threw you into some of the supernatural moments without even you knowing what was happening.
Yeah.
And you have to like find out halfway through the book, oh, that's what was happening. Man. So to me, like, that was great. And again, it's a great testament to the storytelling ability here, because I hadn't up to this point read a book that felt like this from Dean Koontz.
Okay.
So to me, I was like, this is a great, I mean, I wouldn't even say departure, because like they all have something in common, but this was definitely new. It felt like fresh territory,
right.
And done very well.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I like that. And I'm mine for number 5 is also a departure. But in that there's no supernatural in it. And he's written a few books like this. But mine is from 2006, and it's called The Husband.
I like that one a lot.
Yeah. And one of the things that I really, really enjoy, the way that Koontz can write. Now, mind you, he can write some really good long period books, which one of them is on my list later on. But he's also really good at that 24-hour style of writing where things seem to happen in real time. And, it's not like over 2 weeks or over 6 years. It's like over 2 days, and this is a very good example of how well he does that. So it's about landscaper Mitch Rafferty's ordinary day turning into a nightmare when he receives a chilling phone call that his wife has been kidnapped and he must come up with $2 million or she'll be tortured and left to die. Now, I mean, this guy is not rich by any means. He's a blue collar worker. He's, like I said, a landscaper. And he's like, I can't come up with this kind of money, whatever. And then the caller kills just an innocent person right where he can see him. And now he knows this is serious. And he was going to kill somebody I don't even know. What are they going to do to my wife? So the next 60, 72 hours, he's constantly under surveillance, but never sees basically who's is looking for him, and he is forced to try to find ways. There's betrayal even by his own brother, high stakes danger, and a frantic race against time. And this story really, really builds the tense, action packed. Like, what's going to happen next? Oh my God, how does this normal guy with just an extraordinary event, how's it going to end? And really just thought it was a great story about how he loved his wife, how he would sacrifice and do anything for her, which kind of makes us all wonder what we would do if we were put into that same position. I thought it would make a great movie. Because it's just a normal guy, he's not like a Jason Statham kind of guy who, can kick people's butt because he used to be a SAS agent or whatever. So, It's a good read. It's The Husband from 2006.
I remember that
So
book.
you've read
And I
that
loved
one?
it. I did. I remember that book well because I remember the shot going off and going, "Whoa, what?"
Yeah, yeah. It was like out of nowhere, you know. He also wrote another book called The Good Man, I think, something along those lines. And I felt it was the same. It gave me the same feeling, like
Mhm.
a normal guy. He's in a bar and he ends up meeting someone and gives him a no. But I do enjoy these that don't have where he doesn't rely on supernatural or paranormal horror, because sometimes the biggest monsters are just other humans.
That's very well said.
Thank you, thank you. Now, how about you? Well said, or say, or will say, you're number four.
Certainly. But first, the book you're talking about is actually called The Good Guy.
The Good Guy.
And
That's
I
it.
know because my number four is The Good Guy. So, similar to what you were saying, The Good Guy is an action thriller about an everyman named Tim who by chance manages to bump into an assassin at a bar after bumping into another man who has the picture of an enamoring woman. And it is just, the strangest of coincidences that he gets caught into a conspiracy to kill this woman who he doesn't know, but can't help but want to save because he's a good
Right.
guy.
He's a good guy.
And there is nothing paranormal about this book other than the strange appetite of the assassin.
I remember it being weird, but I don't remember exactly what. But I remember the whole bar situation, and he's just a good guy, and he wants to do. It's like like what would we do if we were put in that same situation?
Well, and then, so one of the things that I loved about The Good Guy is that his character development, so it went the other way around, and honestly, it went the other way around from most narratives. All of the character development happened on the second half.
Mm-hmm.
Like all the first half of the book is just things happening one after the other. Boom, 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 boom. And they're planting seeds for you to understand what's going on later on. A lot of the language, a lot of the rhetoric. And then in the second half of the book, it unfolds. And this guy that you're rooting for, you don't just like now, you're endearing to him.
Right.
Because
you're vested in him.
Yeah, because and then now it's like all of these different things, like I said, these seeds that have been planted at the beginning of the book are now growing, and you're saying, oh my God, he's not just a good guy, And then, I mean, my favorite, like, personable joke was whenever the lady in the photo, what is your favorite love story? And she says, Man on Fire. And I was just like, that's amazing.
That's amazing. It's a great movie.
It is. It's a great movie. And I just remember thinking,
he loves the little girl.
Exactly. And that is, and that in a nutshell is just that right there. I was like, if for no other reason, I love the book for that moment. But that book is filled with moments like that where you're just not expecting it to deliver with such, hard hitting moments. And it's just a lot of those, it's a lot of hard hitting moments that I thought that culminated into a really good story that didn't need powers or supernatural, didn't need these overarching villains, just a bad guy that won't quit.
Exactly. He's got a good way of coming up with stuff, so it doesn't really seem repetitious. You're not like, oh yeah, here's doing this again. Just like the difference between, the husband and the good guy. I mean, they're two everyday men, but it departs from there completely,
Oh, yeah.
So, no, that's a great choice, sir. I like that. Good job. I approve. I'll get a little stamp there.
Thank you, Jamie.
Okay, so my number four I chose because he can really, really write unique characters. And you know how you get a unique character? You sneak up on them and put a bag over their head. I am talking about the 1998 suspense thriller called Fear Nothing. It is the
Mm.
first of three books about Christopher Snow, a young man with ectodermal pigmentosum, which is a rare condition that makes him fatally sensitive to light. And it's a real condition as well, not something made out. Um, it's called the Moonlight Bay Trilogy, if I'm not mistaken. And this is the first book that starts off after his dad's mysterious death. He starts to uncover all of these like deep secrets about his hometown, Moonlight Bay, government experiments, genetic manipulations, and a deep, dark, hidden conspiracy. So, because of his condition, he basically lives at night. So, the only time he can go out and try to investigate that is in the dark. Um, but he actually kind of, without giving it away, he uses that condition in a way to go and uncover. Now, I'm telling you right now, unless I missed it, 1 and 2 are out, but 3 has not been released yet.
Hmm.
So this is maybe a book I'm not recommending you read yet. Double check to see if the third one's out, because it definitely has a cliffhanger feel to the ends.
Yeah,
So,
I'm gonna wait until the third one's out if I'm gonna do
yeah,
that.
exactly. But the character of Chris himself is just so unique. He kind of reminds me of what was that movie called Powder, I think it was, where the guy was like a complete albino and he had,
It's powder.
you know, it kind of, when I'm reading the book, whether that's how it's explained or not, that's just went into my head. Um, but again, it's a way that you can bring very unique, real characters to life in front of you. And it's a good read. But again, I don't think 3's out. So maybe you want to avoid it.
I'll avoid it until 3 is out because I like to just do them all at once.
All right. Well, let's hear what your number 3rd favorite Dean Koontz book is.
Okay, my number 3 or third book is The Lightning.
Lightning. Okay. Tell me about that book. It sounds like I've read it.
Okay, so The Lightning is about a little girl who keeps getting saved as she gets older by a man who doesn't age. So this book actually kind of dips a toe into something you were talking about earlier, how Dean Koontz can write a book that feels like it's taking place in real time from one perspective. From the other person's perspective, it's taking place over 30 years.
Right.
And
Yes.
then those 30 years turn into a different set of 30 years. So,
Okay.
and this man who is saving this girl is not from the future.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's if you have not read this, I am not going to give too much away because part of the loveliness of this book is learning how the thing that I just said comes together. Well,
Yeah.
what I will say is this is the only book of his that is like this that I have read.
Okay.
It's the
All
only
right.
one.
And without diving into it, very interesting. Again, he has a way of writing unique perspectives and styles. And when we get to my penultimate selection, I can't wait to talk about how that book's um, timeline comes out too. And hopefully you've read that one. But okay, so Lightning. I like that. All right. So my number 3 is just a gripping book. I remember starting this book. Pretty much all 3 of the next books were ones that I started and just like poured through, because the next page and the next chapter, and it just pulled me in and wouldn't let me go. And I am talking about 1995's Intensity. Now, have you read this one?
Have not.
Okay. This book and my penultimate book are the two that I would most tell you to go out and read from
Okay.
this book. So it follows a young woman named China Shepherd, who is visiting her best friend's family when a sadistic serial killer named Edgar Vess invades their home and murders everyone except her because she's hiding. She narrowly escapes, but then follows Vess after discovering that he has another girl kidnapped in the RV. So then, just like he could do, he gives her this horrific, traumatic past that as things are happening to her, they come rushing back and just add to the story and add to this woman's the instead of, I don't know, like an onion, like peeling the onions back. Now you realize why she had her chance to escape, but she doesn't escape. She goes back, and why she's pushed to do this. And it's really, really good. But after you've watched it, I would then tell you to go and find the two-part Fox Network movie that starred Molly Parker and Piper Laurie. And as Edgar Vess, the serial killer, John C. McGinley from Scrubs turns in an amazing performance. He was actually here at a con, and I was running my own booth, so I only got to go down the floor twice, and both times he had a huge line. But I had brought my copy of Intensity, and I was like, I really want you to sign this because he did a really, really good job. So again, don't want to give too much away, but it's really a good read.
All right.
All right. Intensity.
I'll check that out.
All right. Okay, well, this is the part of the show where we usually stop and we talk about things that are going on. If you've already seen the big news, Plastic Microphone Studios is spreading its wings and becoming a network of content creators. And so we're super excited to announce that you'll be able to see more of our guests on each other's shows. I do want to do a quick shout out. I recently got this off of Kickstarter. Now, if you've ever heard me talk about London After Midnight, this is a Lon Chaney film that has been lost to the ages. The last remaining copy, I believe, burned up in a fire in the 1950s in the studio. And so that all that's ever been here that you can find are stills and copies of the script. So when I saw this come up, I had to get it. The screenplay is by Ron Chaney, who I believe is the great grandson. And it was actually 1965 when the fire happened in Vault Number 7. And it's a really, really interesting read. It's kind of turn of the century, 1800s, and there's a killer. And the interesting thing about it is it was aside from being lost, it was actually directed by Todd Browning, which if you're not familiar with the 30s and that time, he directed Dracula and a couple of other films, and then he directed Freaks, which had real sideshow people in it, and he basically got blacklisted by Hollywood after it. Even though most people don't realize that he wasn't taking advantage of these actors, that he actually grew up in a circus environment. And instead of having other actors come in and pretend to be these people, he actually gave them the jobs.
Mm-hmm.
So in retrospect, looking back, it should not have happened the way that it did. He should have been lauded for his portrayal of bringing these people and giving them the work. But anyway, it is from Chaney Entertainment. It's a great read but be careful if you know anything about the movie, because after you read it, all you can think about is, damn it, now I want to see the movie. So, um, that's really it for me. I've got I'm doing the podcast all the time, working, saving baby seals when I can. Just doing the do, man. Doing the do.
Uh, man, there's been so much going on. Mostly just trying to take care of family, trying to get this room set up adequately. My big thing is that I like to play Destiny. It's why we're called the Cave of Destiny over here. But I finally got everything set up the way that I liked, hoping that I'm going to get a stream going on sometime at some point. I'm actually trying to get good enough at the game that anybody's going to want to watch me play it.
Yeah, I'd watch and laugh if that was okay. Look, dude, over there, he killed you.
Mm-hmm.
The Cave of Destiny. You gonna wear the Halo helmet when you stream? That would be fun.
No, but I could. It's got Master Chief's signature on the top.
That would be awesome. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let me go grab the thing right now. Be nice for the next time I come to your house. I'm turning your lights off.
Yeah, he will, folks. He will. Hey, while we're talking about the next time you're coming, how'd you enjoy Pops?
That was unreal, dude. I was not expecting that sandwich to be that good. It's rare that you can shut me up during a seated meal.
Yeah.
My God, I just would not stop chewing. Oh my God, it was so good.
So Pops Po' Boys, it was so good. And not oddly enough, because it's so damn good, I went back on that Thursday over two other friends, and I had the same sandwich again.
Look, man, I want to go back whenever they have the one that you and
the Dirty Bird.
About. Oh my God, I want that so bad.
Well, trust me, you just keep it on your calendar. The first time they play the Falcons, it'll be that week, and we'll get you to come down, and we won't split one, but we'll each have one.
I might bring your microphone back too.
Oh, yeah, maybe so. Do you have it sitting there next to you?
I do, actually.
Yeah, I know you do. Can I see it again? It's been a while. Hi, friend. Hi. Daddy misses you.
I mean, it does have a parental resemblance, right?
Mm-hmm. It does. I missed you so bad. I'm gonna come see. That mean old man's gonna bring you back. Yes, he is.
Oh man.
All right. That's enough farting around. It is time. You ready? Ready? Put it right up here. Put it right up here.
Okay, where am I going? Right here?
Touch me. Touch my arm. Like right here. Right here. Okay, you ready? It's time for our penultimate choices. This is the part that everyone in Hungary waits for. The number one, our favorites are great, but the penultimates, man, that's like if you're watching it on YouTube, that spikes up right there, until I start talking again, and then it drops back down. But why don't you go ahead and reveal unto us your penultimate choice?
All right, so my penultimate choice is kind of a hack.
Okay.
Because it's 4 books.
Okay, Mark. Okay, go ahead.
It's the Frankenstein series.
Those are so good. Almost made. I'm like, it would have been my third honorable mention.
So my description was, I left this one open so that I could just kind of free form it, because I read all 4 of them before I listened to them. So I read them first, all 4, and then I listened to all 4 end to end, probably 3 or 4 times. So I love them.
Is it an audio drama, or is it just an audio book being read?
It's just an audio book being read.
Okay.
I would love an audio drama though.
Yeah, no kidding. That's what I was thinking when I was reading it.
So so Frankenstein is about Frankenstein's monster, except that it's about Frankenstein's monster now.
Right.
Presuming that Mary Shelley's story was at least mostly accurate. Um, we have characters named Madison, O'Connor, Deucalion. You have physics, metaphysics, and Creole food. Because this series takes place mostly in the city of New Orleans.
Yes.
And they have, oh man, and they have Dean Koontz captures the spirit of New Orleans and the way that he describes the city as its own character of the story, which I love. I love that he wrote characters whose whole existence is based in New Orleans culture, which, like, I loved that. I loved that he was able to capture, you know, that very maternal caretaker essence of some of these people, even the things that felt, you know, genuinely, I don't even know how to say it, like almost like movie. Like if you were to watch a movie about the South, you had characters that were like that, but more authentic in this book. It was fascinating to me that he wrote characters that felt more real in New Orleans than most other things can. And I'm saying this as a person that lives here, you know, like obviously the way he describes the sandwiches, you know, I'm like, my God, the way he describes the food, the way he describes the city, you know, all of it felt so accurate.
Yeah.
Which was something that I had a lot of respect for. And that's just that one very narrow part of the book. The way that Frankenstein's monster is described, the way that he was written, is probably one of my favorite. If not, it is absolutely, no, I'll take that back. It is my favorite, we'll call it reboot of a character, because it's essentially what this is. It's not, I mean, and I would be remiss to say that it's actually a reboot, because this is more or less just somebody else's sequel, technically, because this is just, you know, the story of Frankenstein and his monster in modern day. And he's written so well, and he's written with so much complexity, with a lot of empathy for what happened, right? And then you tie in some of my favorite things, science. Like, and I don't know anything about science. I'm an idiot, but I love it as a plot device.
No, you're not.
I mean, look, you can't have good hair and be smart in this room.
Wait, so I must be really smart.
Anyway, so kind of like how we both know that I'm obsessed with Fringe. And it's because they're, yes.
People who eat.
Hey, and this has got both. They talk about donuts a lot. But they combine two of my favorite things. And you're right. It is food and there's science. And while I don't understand science, I love the way that they use it.
Yeah.
You know, as its own other character. And so that is something that, and it carries through the entire time. But it turns Frankenstein into a modern sci-fi thriller across 4 books. And I absolutely love it.
Title.
So they all have their own different names. So I think the first one's The Prodigal Son. And then there's City of the Night. And so they all have their different titles. I think it's just called the Frankenstein series.
Oh, okay. Okay. So,
but did you know that they actually tried to do a TV show in the UK starring Vincent Perez?
No.
As Deucalion.
Okay.
It never went anywhere, and from the little I saw of it, it wasn't very good, which made me really sad. Because
they couldn't bring it to life.
Yeah, well, they tried.
Like shooting ducks in a barrel.
All right. Anyway,
I'll stop doing it if you stop laughing.
I can't help it. Oh man! All right. Yes, they had a show in the UK starring Vincent Perez trying to turn this into a series, and it sucked.
Yeah. All right. Fun fact. All right. So this is one of the ones that I've been so excited to talk about because it's such a quirky, interesting, completely different, hard to explain book that I absolutely love. And it is 2004's Life Expectancy. Now,
Okay.
have you read this one?
I've not.
Okay, I'm going to try to sell it to you. Okay, so
Right.
first of all, if you find it in a paper bag, it has a cuckoo clock on the front of it. Okay, whatever. And I had to take notes to make sure I explained this correctly. So the novel follows Jimmy Tock, yeah, tick tock clock, da, 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 uh, whose life is predicted in detail by his dying grandfather on the night that Jimmy is born. So it's this dark and stormy night in like a remote hospital where Jimmy's mom and dad come because she's in labor, and his dad is already in the hospital who had a stroke. And in this moment of clarity, I'm sorry, his grandfather, yeah. Jimmy's grandfather gives out 5 terrible predictions that he's going to have 5 terrible days in his life that he must overcome. And the way that he tells it to him, it's like it's so clear, like he can see it. And so his dad thinks, oh well, he must just be having, But then he starts telling him, well, you're gonna have a son, and you're gonna name him James, but you're gonna call him Jimmy. And he tells him a few other things that like he has no way of knowing. So now he's got this. Wow, what is going on? Well, at the same time, at the same night, follow me here. A clown and his acrobat wife from a circus show up at the same hospital while she's giving birth. And she dies during childbirth. And the father just like goes into a rage because his wife is dead. And from that day on, their lives are inexorably twisted and brought together. The son of the clown is named Punchinello, based on the famous Italian, the crying clown. Okay, and this is what I was talking about earlier. So you've got that night. That happens in real time. Mm-hmm. And then you jump forward in Jimmy's life, and it's the first terrible day. Okay. And then, spoiler, he survives the first day. And then it jumps forward again in his life until the next terrible day. And Jimmy is he's compassionate, he's principled, he's witty, and Punchinello basically embraces violence, manipulation, and control, basically becoming a really dangerous criminal. And as their lives cross on these days, those days take place in real time. Mm-hmm. And through the end, there's basically, foils against each other. Mm-hmm. Because, Jimmy has moral strength and he has humor, that's how he gets through it. And Punch is he's just malicious. And he blames everybody in the world for his position that all stems from his mom dying and his dad blaming him because she died in childbirth. And at the end of the book, on the 5th day, everything comes together in this. I can't. I'm glad I'm not going to spoil it because I don't even know that I could explain it and do it in the way that he does. This is one of 2 of his books that I always pick up if I ever see it in a bargain bin or $1 bin or
Mhm.
whatever. I buy that and give it to people because I think it's a master class in writing
Mhm.
because the absurd um, details that make up this story, and yet what you get out of it is just a masterpiece. And so I would. This is one of the other ones that I would say, along with Intensity, that you should read if you haven't read them before. Because, but now I'm hyping them up, but I think you'll find that they're both kind of up your alley because they don't have that supernatural. They do have this weird thing because of the predictions
Right.
and all of that, but it can be played off, by just an odd coincidence.
Mhm.
But anyway, life expectancy 2004.
All
Give
right.
it a try. All right. So now all of Hungary is on the edge of their seats to hear you finish so they can get to my number one. But let's go ahead and hear what your favorite is.
All right. My number one is originally printed, I think, in 1979 under the name Lee Nichols.
Oh, I think I know this one. It was on
Mhm.
my short list too.
Yep. It is The Key to Midnight.
Yes.
It was the first one I ever read. I read
Mm-hmm.
it in high school. And the reason that I read this book was because it was given to me by a friend
Okay.
and by my father,
Oh.
like the same week.
Oh,
And it
wow.
wasn't a new book. So my dad gives it to me first. He says, "You need to read this book." I'm like, "Uh-huh." And I throw it in my backpack. I'm like, "Yep, cool."
Whatever. Yeah. Sure, Dad.
Yep. And then later that week, my friend Aaron gives me that book and says, "Hey man, you really need to read this. I think this is your thing." And
That's
I'm like,
cool.
I'm like, I genuinely thought he had gone into my bag and
Yeah.
taken the book to give back to me. I thought he was trolling me. And like, it was a genuine, like, what are you doing? Why are you going through my stuff? And
Yeah.
just the absurdity of the moment. I was just like, I guess I got to read the freaking book
That's
now.
cool. That's the universe telling you to read that book.
That's exactly what it was. And then I read the book and then immediately read it again.
Mm.
Now,
The big words.
not a little, yeah, but also so I've spent a lot of time in Asia. My mom is Asian. I have a lot of family there, and one of the things that drew me into this book was, like he always does so well, he wrote Kyoto, Japan, like it was a character.
Yeah. Like he
And
did with New Orleans in the
exactly,
Frankensteins.
absolutely. And I was enamored with the way, and this was my introduction to Dean Koontz. This was my introduction to Dean Koontz.
Mm-hmm.
The way that he described food, the way that he described the way that you tasted drinks, the way that he described how the protagonist, I believe, let me see, I wrote a whole thing about it. I haven't even looked at it yet. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the protagonists is a lady named Joanna, who is in Japan. She's a singer in a lounge, and she also runs it. And she winds up meeting a man who happens to just stumble into her gin joint of all the gin joints in all the world. And she ends up being this very tortured soul, this poor thing. And he just happens to be wealthy and skilled in all of the ways that make him perfect to be the guy that helps her. She's tortured in a mental prison via Manchurian Candidate style brain chemistry. Alex is, and he's there to do the thing. And one of the things that this book does differently from every book that I have read or heard from Dean Koontz is that this book is about the love story.
Okay.
First and foremost. And Dean Koontz said that this book was him trying to write a love story. That was the point of it. Now, he has love stories, or at least connections, affectionate connections in a lot of his books. They happen, but they aren't the point of the book.
Right.
Well, this is the point of this book. There
Okay.
are things that happen in and around it, but that's what this book is. This book is a cloak and dagger love story. And that it's probably one of the things that sort of pushed me into that spy thriller direction pretty much for the rest of my life. And it has absolutely set the stage for what would eventually become the books that I gravitate towards. I love Cloak and Dagger. I love spine novels. I love uncovering conspiracies in these books, but I also loved that she wasn't helpless, and I love that he wasn't your garden variety badass.
Yeah.
So, and again, it was just he wrote both of them as imperfect, which to me creates the most authentic feeling character.
Right.
And they're
Because
not
we all are.
exactly, and a lot of books will write characters as imperfect in cheeky ways, but that didn't happen here. There was no sense of absolute victory at any point. It didn't feel like anything was being done is like window dressing. You know what I mean? Nothing felt like it was just there to move the plot forward. Now, that being said, I read the book from the 1990s that Dean Koontz had, as he puts it, removed 10,000 words and then added 3,000 words. He actually dedicated this book to his writing teacher in college, saying, "I'm so sorry for the first one." He's like, "I'm so sorry for that first one. That was more of a draft that got printed. This is the real thing, and this is the one that deserves my actual name."
Yeah.
And so to me,
didn't know that.
It's really funny whenever he pokes fun at himself, which I find very nice.
Yeah.
It is a great book. It's great to show, like, it's great to show that and it wasn't just novelty. It wasn't like they were saying, there's sometimes this movie where like the guy walks and he's shaking off his jacket and he's suave and he's great and he's perfect. And you can just tell, yep, he can't do any wrong. He's the good guy. Now, he wasn't that kind of guy. He was imperfect. Yeah. He was funny, he was charming, and he was imperfect, and he made him perfect for her. And then they even make how insanely coincidental part of the story. They're like, didn't you think it was a little funny how perfect that was?
Right.
And I love that they point it out as characters. So it was like a book that left no stone unturned when it came to its own plot, which I absolutely adored.
That's great. I want to say it was the mid 80s when I read it. So I'm guessing it's the extra 10,000 words.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
All right. Well, that is a great choice. Not as good as mine, but still, it's not a comparison. I mean, we're not trying to prove how much better mine is than yours. I mean, as a matter of fact, you don't have to prove it. It's just gonna. Anyway, my absolute favorite Dean Koontz book is no surprise to you and to anybody that talks to me about books. It is 2003's Odd Thomas. Now, I'm going to put a little spin and break my own rules. And I'm going to say that if you read this book, that you should also buy Forever Odd from 2005. Because this is a book that basically, the two books take place 6 months apart. And they're kind of a direct continuation of the character's story, not the story itself, but the character of Odd's story and how he deals with the things from the events of the first book. So I'm going to heavily spoil Odd Thomas. So if you haven't read this book, please, please, please stop now. But I can't talk about this book without talking about the ending. What? Stop it.
You said stop now.
Stop now. So Odd Thomas was supposed to be named Todd at birth, but his dad was lazy and left the T off. So his name is actually Odd. He's at the time of the first book, he's a 20-year-old short order cook living in the desert town of Pico Mundo, California. He has the supernatural ability to see and commune with the spirits of the dead. He's never left Pico Mundo. That's his entire 20 years has been spent right there. he's a very simple life. He gets up, he goes to work. He has his forever woman. Her name's Stormy Llewellyn. They have one of those carnival guys that you press the button and it tells you you're going to be together forever. Um, but as he goes through his normal day, he starts to see these creatures that only he can see called Bodocs. And they're kind of like a demon, dark hound ghost spirit that no one can see or feel but him. And so he sees they supposedly show up when there's going to be death. Oh, by the way, did I mention his constant companion is the ghost of Elvis Presley? Yeah, follows him everywhere. Of course, cannot speak to him. But Elvis shows you his moods by changing his appearance to the different, styles. And Elvis is very somber because he misses his mom a lot. So through the course of, I think it's 2 days, it goes from seeing these Bodocs that end up leading him towards someone called the Fungus Man to a house where all of the Bodocs are basically swarming inside of a room. And it leads to the discovery of a plot to have a mass shooting and killing happen in this small town. Now I'm going to spoil the end of the book because this is one of only 2 books that has ever literally made me cry. The other is A Dog's Life. And that's a wonderful book. It made me laugh and cry in the same chapter. But big spoiler alert, if you listen past this, it's all on you. At the end, Odd is able to stop the mass shooting, but Stormy Llewellyn is killed. Except you don't know that she's dead because the next chapter has Odd and Stormy together in their house or in the apartment, spending the next few days together, finally, free of their problems, and they're going to go on and live this life until you find out that it's her ghost that's been with him for those 3 days. And his friends come to commiserate with him and to try to get him to come out of the house and basically to let her go. I literally had to stop, go back and read the chapter ending before to make sure I understood. And he left all the clues there that she never spoke to him. She never interacted with anybody else. She never did anything else. And that just, I love, love, love when there's a big reveal. And if you go back, all of the clues were there. And that's exactly what he did. So anyway, all that big spoil. Then they came out, Anton Yelchin, in his last role, played Odd, did a really good job. Of course, there's way too much in the book to put into the movie, but I thought they did a great job of turning it into a movie. Of course, they didn't have Elvis in it, but it was great. But I follow that up with Forever Odd from 2005, which takes place 6 months later. And he's been trying to deal with the loss of Stormy. His whole leading up to the books, they always thought they were going to be forever together. And now he has to deal with the way that that's changed. But a friend of his, a childhood friend named Danny, is kidnapped, and Danny's stepfather is thought to be the one to do it. And as Odd starts to investigate, he uses what he calls his psychic magnetism, where he can picture someone in his head, and if he just kind of lets himself go, he will be eventually directed to where that person is. And I'm not going to go into any more of it, except that along the way, toward an abandoned, burned out hotel and a subterranean water tunnel, um, he ends up coming into a real huge threat, unlike anything he's dealt with before. And really, really enjoyed this. Both of the books blend that supernatural horror with the mystery elements. There's the action and Odd's unique perspective on the life of never having left Pico Mundo um, to having all these things uncovered for him that he didn't realize, were just right there around him. So that's it. Complete with spoilers. Odd Thomas and Forever Odd, my favorite Dean Koontz books.
Man, the way you talk about it makes me want to do it again, just to give it another shot.
I totally, I think if you'll remember correctly, if I'm remembering correctly, I didn't give you too much crap when you told me The Thing just wasn't your bag.
Right.
And so all things after that are kind of viewed through the lens of David has really bad taste. So then I could understand.
Oh my God, what a mic drop. Thank you. Oh, man.
In all seriousness, if you don't like that movie, then it does explain to me what your type of adventure is. And I can definitely see where Odd Thomas is not in your wheelhouse. And honestly, I love you, man, but I wouldn't say go back and give it another try. I would instead tell you to definitely pick up Intensity and Life Expectancy. And if you don't love those two books, then I give up on you.
Good. Okay.
Yeah. Well, then you're dead to me.
That's fair.
Well, man, as always, this has been a blast. I love coming on here and laughing with you. And maybe laughing at you, but mostly laughing with you. Anyway, we've been all over the place, but I guess we need to wrap it up because there's some people in Hungary that are just ready to go to bed. So I want to say thanks for tuning in to this episode of Fave 5 from Fans. We hope you enjoyed diving into some of our favorite books by Dean Koontz. If the episode resonated with you, we hope maybe that you'll help us reach more listeners. Share it with somebody you love. Give it a 5-star review on your favorite platform. If you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, share. These are all things that you can do for free to help us, the show, and the Plastic Microphone Studios network to reach more and more people. And speaking of which, head on over to X and Instagram and follow at PM Studio Pod to explore more great content from people like the Average Home Theater Reviews, Red Dog Terrain, the Sequel House, and many more. Maybe some other people might be coming on soon. You can also find us, Fave 5, across all of these social medias. Come and reach us. Make a tag of what your favorite Dean Koontz. Use hashtag Fave5 from Fans and let us know. Again, thanks for being a part of the Fave 5 family. We've got more great episodes coming your way, so we'll catch you next time. New episodes come out every Friday.
Unless they don't.
They do, David. God. So be sure to subscribe and follow us so you can catch all of the episodes. And remember, folks, it may not be the best. It may not be the most popular. But if it's your favorite, then that's good enough for us. David, take us out.
Thanks for watching, everybody. See you next time.
Wait, they're watching everybody? Oh, thanks, everybody, for watching us. Yeah. Good night.